Say hi, Joey only.
Hi, Joey only. Hi.
I'm Frank Adult. You're listening to Comedeorological Weather Report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. Joey only's a really nice guy. He lives in Wales, British Columbia. He's a firefighter in Wales, British Columbia. He used to work for Vancouver Giants Western Hockey League team. I'm on his podcast every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. Joey only's a really nice guy. I'm on his podcast every Thursday nights on his YouTube channel. It's on CFUR 88.7 FM Prince George and CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg and CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops. It's on Rogers, Spotlight TV in Victoria, British Columbia, and Vancouver Island. Joey only's a really nice guy. I'm on his podcast every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. It's with Image and Cookie Bailey, Brandon Helk, and Hildy Donaldson, and Hank from Saskatchewan. I'm on his podcast every Thursday nights, and I do the weather around the world. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Adult. You're listening to Joey Only Show every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey only. Hi.
Say hi, Joey Only.
Hey.
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
Good afternoon, Prince George, because I tuned in last week and I was like, where's our show at 11 in the morning? And then I wrote, I was like, where's our show? And then the good people at CFUR said, check in it. So no, we're on at 2 p.m. I guess on for now on. So good afternoon, CFUR 88.7 FM Prince George. Hello, CKUW 95.9 FM Winnipeg. Good afternoon to you as well. Good evening, Kamloops, British Columbia, listening to us on CFBX 92.5 and watchers on Rogers Spotlight Rogers TV, not Rogers Spotlight. That's an old thing that we are no longer. We are no longer the Spotlight. We're just Rogers TV, right? Is that right? Yes. Okay, this is the Cometeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology. Comedy plus meteorology equals Cometeorology. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada and the world. In fact, everywhere right now, though, there's so much sucky weather to talk about it. So it's really quite wild. Yeah. And with me is my panel of Cometeorologists, as per usual. The panel grows, and we have the man himself, Frankie McDonald. That's the show. Frankie and I started the show there years ago. He's the star, Frankie McDonald, the world's greatest weatherman out there in Sydney, Nova Scotia. He'll be with us at the top of the hour. He's on in 1 minute time. With us also is Brandon Helk, back again with Western Canada Weather. He's the radio man there in Brooks, Alberta. We do have meteorologist Mark Engels with us this evening down there in Portland, Oregon. Our associate producer Imogen Cookie Bailey's down there in Victoria, British Columbia, and from Grassy Plains, BC is Hildy Donaldson. Good evening, everybody, and hello, listeners and watchers. All right, and if I haven't said so, I am Joey Only, and we are recording the show here in Wells, British Columbia. If you want to see us live, you can always check us out on the live stream. We do it on my show channel, Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude, every week, Thursdays at 7 p.m., and all back episodes of the show can be found there. Frankie McDonald, how you doing so far, buddy?
I'm doing great so far. There's some snow squalls up in Cape Breton Highlands. They had some flurries in Sydney, Nova Scotia, a little bit of light snow, but it's really cold after lots of rain. Right now, it already happened in Sydney, Nova Scotia earlier. Brought so much rain in Sydney, Nova Scotia earlier. Brought heavy downpours when on Thursday morning after then had a temperature dropped on Thursday afternoon, got cold. And the flash freeze wasn't as bad as expected. And did you hear about this? It got really cold. Then it's going to warm up again on Saturday in Sydney, Nova Scotia, rest Nova Scotia and Maritimes. Then it got more thunderstorms developing in New Orleans and all those places. Lots of rain and lots of snow in the mountains in Washington, Oregon, and California. They're getting 380 centimeters of snow somewhere in California. That's 150 inches. There's a lot of rain in coast areas in British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and some in California. Then they got some snow heading for Vancouver next week. Then they got some snow heading for Winnipeg this Sunday coming. Rain changing to snow in Winnipeg. You got colder temperatures heading for Winnipeg once again. And the places like in North Dakota, South Dakota, and all these places are going to warm up on Friday in Minnesota, North parts of South Dakota, and Nebraska, and all these places. Then they got some colder weather heading next week all across central states, all the way down Nebraska and those places as of right now. And California is supposed to get some cold weather and rain this weekend coming as well. And weather for South America. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Brazil right now, including Rio de Janeiro. And lots of in Amazon rainforest, lots of rain thunderstorms going on in parts of Ecuador, parts of Peru, and parts of Colombia, and parts of Bolivia, and all these places. And northern Chile is really, really dry weather right now. Northern Chile, in southern Chile, there's lots of rain going on in the coast areas in southern Chile and snow up in the mountains, and lots of fires still going on in central Chile right now. In Argentina, it's warm air, cold air fighting each other. Meteorological fall starts down Australia, New Zealand tomorrow. Up around England, there's a big storm up around the United Kingdom, like London, England, and all those places, including lots of little bit of rain in the coast areas of Norway and Finland and Sweden and also Norway and those places. And Oslo, Norway, and things like this. And Finland, Sweden is drier than normal as right now, and a little bit of showers in the forecast, and lots of cold weather in France, going down to Spain, Portugal, even parts of northern Africa. It got cold air. Then it got some thunders, lots of showers going on in Albania and Greece right now, and parts of Italy. With the cold temperatures in the forecast in Italy. Up around Turkey, they got colder weather aiming towards Turkey as of right now. They got really cold weather in Moscow, Russia, as of right now. And Siberia is going to gradually warm up. And in places in Western Pacific, like in Japan, there's another storm coming off the coast of Japan. They got cold temperatures in Tokyo, Sapporo, Kyoto, Osaka, and all these places. Lots of storms coming off the coast of Japan. It's really cold in Mongolia and Siberia right now. And Siberia is going to gradually warm up. Places like in Hong Kong, those places, it's warmer than normal Hong Kong. There's a lot of rain. The thunderstorms going on in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, New Caledonia, Vanuatu, and all those places right now. It's drier than normal. Philippines with little showers and forecast. So it's Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, and Thailand. They be soon in the rainy season. Over in India, it's really dry in India right now. Parts of Pakistan stealing with rain right now. They got a little bit of showers in the forecast in India. Their summer comes up in April. It'll be extremely hot in India then. In southern Africa, lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Congo, DR Congo, and Zambia, and Kenya, and northern Mozambique right now. It's really, really hot in Botswana and South Africa right now. It's in Madagascar, Africa, La Réunion, and Mauritius, lots of rain, thunderstorms in the forecast. In Southwest Pacific, lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Northern Australia. Then it got some cold weather aiming towards New Zealand because their fall starts on Friday, March 1st. Down in Antarctica. Over in other parts of Australia, like Perth, Australia, is drier than normal temperatures. Then it got some showers in the forecast in Perth, Australia, and Western Australia later this week as well. Down in Antarctica, it's getting darker in Antarctica, starting to get some darker in Antarctica, lighter up in the Arctic, starting to gain more daylight up in the Arctic and losing daylight in Antarctica.
We're recording this show on the 29th. It's the leap year day. It's February the 29th right now. And what's crazy, Frankie, is if I was born on February 29th, 1979, I wouldn't exist.
1984 was leap year. I was born on leap year on April 24th, 1984.
So you would exist if you had been born on February 29th. So you got lucky. I got lucky. You know, we all got lucky. For all those kids that didn't make it on February 29th, 1979, we missed you in school. We knew, we thought. Anyways, any questions for Frankie McDonald this week? Like, Imogen, you got a question for Frankie, right?
No, I do not. Frankie's already answered all my questions in private conversation.
And I was on Jamie Clump's Kings of Clump podcast tonight. And I got news from Bass Guy. Bass Guy Show's studio will be back online in October. And I got a latest message from Bass Guy. He's going to do a major reconstruction inside of his apartment building in March. Starting up with upstairs first, then go downstairs after that.
We're wishing you good luck, Bass Guy. Meteorologist Mark, you must have a question for Frankie McDonald.
I do. Frankie, how quickly did the temperature drop at your house when the cold front came through earlier
It
this week?
dropped and quickly dried up at the same time.
Excellent. Any more questions for Frankie?
I have a question. Did Frankie hear anything about the fast freeze in China?
Flash freeze happened in Ontario. All kinds of cars got in an accident. They had a flash freeze on the Highway 401 in Ontario.
Hilding's wondering about China. China had a flash freeze, he hears.
Yes, because a cold front went through China, froze everything.
China had a cold front, froze everything. What about you, Brandon? Got any questions for Frankie?
I don't think I do this time around. Oh, how much rain did you get in Sydney there?
Quite a
this
bit of rain.
last-
St. John, New Brunswick had so much rain. St. John, New Brunswick had way more rain than Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Oh, yes, they're flooding there today, St. John. Then they had the flash freeze, which wasn't good either.
I got a couple Frankie McDonald videos lined up. Do you guys want to watch this week's Frankie McDonald videos?
Yes.
Frankie does. He knows what happened. What about you guys? You want to watch it? Everyone wants to watch Frankie McDonald.
Hey everyone, let's do a tutorial side.
Fresh tornado siren.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Heavy rain and cold temperatures is continuing also Norway on Thursday, February 29th, 2024. It's going to bring lots of snow up in the mountains and lots of rain in coastal areas of Norway, including also Norway. It's going to bring lots of rain and very cold temperatures. It's going to turn a little bit drier next week in southern Norway. It's going to rain for the next few days in the early March 2024. For people living in Norway, make sure you wear rain gear, rubber boots, and raincoats, and also Norway and surrounding areas. I want every single person in Norway to be prepared because there's lots of rain in the forecast for the next few days starting on February 29th, 2024 for people living in Norway, especially in also Norway and the surrounding areas, including coastal areas in Norway. There'll be lots of snow up in the mountains areas in Norway. I want every single person in Norway to be prepared. Make sure you wear rain gear and stay warm for people living in Norway. Be safe. This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Major earthquake is on its way for Chile sometime in 2024. We can't predict earthquakes and they can't predict earthquakes yet. But the earthquakes are too unpredictable because Chile lies on a Pacific Ring of Fire and a fault line in western South America, including Santiago, Chile, and surrounding areas. I want every single person in Chile to be extra prepared because the earthquake's going to happen anytime soon, sometime in 2024. For people living in Chile, lock your dishes in your cupboards. When the earthquake happens, go underneath the tables, go underneath the chairs if you're indoors. When you're outdoors, don't go inside the building. So the earthquakes can knock out power and bring down power lines and snap tree branches in half. It's going to damage bridges, damage roads, damage buildings in Chile, including Santiago, Chile, and the surrounding areas sometime in 2024. The earthquakes are too unpredictable. We can't predict earthquakes in Chile, especially in Santiago, Chile, and the surrounding areas. I want every single person in Chile to be prepared because the earthquake's going to happen anytime soon in somewhere in Chile in 2024. Because the earthquakes can happen. Make sure you have your medical kits, emergency kits, flashlights, candles, crank up radio, extra batteries, generators, battery operations ready as well. It's going to bring 7.0 greater magnitude or even 6.0 greater magnitude earthquake that's going to do some damage in Chile, including Santiago, Chile, and surrounding areas. Be extra prepared. Be cautious for people living in Chile. If you have anybody living in Chile, be prepared for major earthquake sometime in 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in a major earthquake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie!
All right, that's Frankie McDonald this week, everybody. Frankie
Toronto
McDonald.
had a flash freeze.
Toronto had a flash freeze.
I did a live video for Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, I didn't even see your live videos. There you go. Well, if we have time later in the episode, we will pull that one up for sure.
Yeah.
Because we love Frankie McDonald. Everybody, Frankie McDonald. You know who we haven't talked to so far this week is everybody, including you, Brandon Hauk.
The Brandon Hauk Report.
Oh, hi. This is the Brandon Hauk Report.
How you doing so far, buddy?
Me? Oh, doing great. Busy as heck this week because we've had all kinds of weather. Almost everything has happened somewhere in North America, pretty much.
And it's great. This week we can have you on the show because you're not sitting in front of a copyrighted hockey telecast and you're not drinking things that we don't want to show to our children and old people and to me. I don't even want to see it. We got you this time, Brandon. It's been a big week.
Yeah. It's been a very big week weather-wise. We had this vigorous low-pressure system move in out of British Columbia, and oh man, did it pack a punch across all of North America, and it's still packing a punch at this hour, producing a dangerous blizzard in northern Quebec into Nunavut tonight. Iqaluit, in some areas could see wind gusts of 110 kilometers an hour plus 35 centimeters of snow. It's a wicked time to be in Nunavut tonight. No doubt about that. So the vigorous low came out of BC and it produced actually some thunderstorms near Blue River and Williams Lake. And then Highway 5 was shut down south of Kamloops because of
I was on Sunday.
sliding off the roads back on Sunday there, whiteout conditions. And Highway 1 was also closed for avalanche control, 30 centimeters on the Coquihalla Highway from that system. Osoyoos got up to 17 degrees. It was a wild one. And then that low pressure system moved into the province of Alberta and produced a heavy swath of snow into the Edmonton area and right back into the foothills there, at least 20 to 30 centimeters of snowfall on Monday. And then we had the snow and the blowing snow with a vigorous cold front that swept through our area. Temperature dropped to the minus 20s, wind chills in the minus 30s, and near, I want to say quite whiteout conditions in our area, but it was a nasty day on Monday. About 2 centimeters of snow, but it was that wind was just a howling, gusting at 63 kilometers an hour through the day on Monday. And then they had the record heat in Texas and the fires that broke out there Monday and Tuesday earlier this week as well. And then that same low pressure system continued to trek its way towards the east with at least 22 centimeters of snow in northern Ontario, snow and blowing snow back into Manitoba. And we had severe thunderstorms moving into the lower Great Lakes. St. Jacobs, Ontario got Toonie-sized hail and tornadoes that touched down in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. At least 14 tornadoes were observed there. And severe weather pushed into southern Ontario at 2 a.m. wee hours of the day before the cold front came through later in the day on, I think that was Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, that was quite the storm. And then they even had thunderstorms get pretty close to Hudson Bay there yesterday with the sharp cold front there, but that turned into thunder snow quite quickly. And then temperatures dropped at least 15, 20 degrees with that frontal boundary across the Great Lakes. So it felt like spring. They saw record-breaking temperatures there. And then the temperatures just crashed later in the day yesterday in the east. And then they had the heavy rains in New Brunswick with major flooding, at least some areas getting up to pretty close to 100 millimeters of rain in parts of New Brunswick there last night and this morning. And then that all flash froze as well. So that was the flash freeze there. And then we had our low pressure system rip out of British Columbia again today. And that produced significant snow yesterday in Whistler. They were, yesterday in Whistler, they were some of the folks were stranded trying to get to the ski resort, and they decided to pull over the side of the road and walk the rest of the way. It was at least 60 centimeters of snow in Whistler yesterday. Pretty impressive there. And then the Coquihalla Highway had significant snow. Backups on the highway as well. Just wild day yesterday. And then our weather today. What a day it was. We saw the Chinook roll in yesterday, and you can hear the winds pick up yesterday evening. Just whoosh. There's the Chinook, and temperatures went up above the melting point yesterday, right into today. And then we had a very sharp cold front with the low pressure system that moved in today. So it was nice here in the south. And then Red Deer started off with the temperature drop from -1 to -16 in an hour. And then Stettler went from 3 degrees to -15 in 1 hour. And same goes for Drumheller, and Calgary saw the temperature drop. So we were at least dropping 15 to 20 degrees in just 1 hour today. And I stood out there today, waited for that front to roll in because it was like 9 degrees out. I could almost stand outside in a t-shirt today. It was so nice with the southwesterly wind still blowing. And then I saw the clouds approach, and all of a sudden you can see the wind just stop for a second, and then it picks up right out of the north, and it felt like somebody just opened the freezer door and let the cold air out today. That was, I'd say that was an experience of a lifetime today here in southern Alberta with that upper cold front that blasted its way through across the south. And now we've got yet another low pressure system moving into the prairies this weekend. And we've got special weather statements from Medicine Hat all the way into Manitoba, where we're going to be dealing with some areas, especially Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Looks like we're going to be dealing with 20 to 30 centimeters of snow, especially Sunday into Monday. And then plus, we're going to be dealing with the strong winds on the backside of that low. So we'll be dealing with some blowing snow issues across the prairies. And there will be a warm slot in Manitoba, so where we could see a bit of freezing rain and then change over to rain. There might be the odd rumble of thunder on Sunday as well, and then it goes right back over to snow as well. So, it looks like they just issued a flash freeze warning here in Alberta. That's probably for our friends further to the south with the cold front that's going to continue to sweep its way through. And then finally, a wait what story for this week, and this is the wildest story of the whole entire week. And man, oh man, here we go. So we go to Glasgow in the UK. So there's this these guys, they decided to do this Willy Wonka experience here, okay, in Glasgow in the UK. They're charging $40 for families to go into this and they put these pictures up, AI art and stuff, and it's going to be a wonderful experience. Wondrous creations and enchanting surprises at every turn when you go in here. It's like a Willy Wonka experience here. So the families and the kids, they show up at this place. And, well, it shows up. It's just a warehouse. And in this warehouse, they just have a couple of balloons. And...
oh, the sad Oompa Loompa.
I felt jelly beans and some pink lemonade, and that's it. And they called the cops on these guys.
The sad Oompa Loompa, the poor girl who was playing the Oompa Loompa trying to do her laboratory science setup, was so embarrassed she walked out. During the show, she walked out. It was so poorly done. The guy who was playing Willy Wonka gave a statement saying, "I'm just an actor. Please stop sending me hate mail." He had nothing to do with the organization, but as the face of the experience, people were trying to talk to him directly. The poor guy is an actor hired for a role and given no preparation and given nothing. He was basically hired and shoved on set with a costume.
Wow.
Now you got to take some responsibility. If someone was like, "Joey, do you want to play Willy Wonka?" I'd be like, "No, I have class." You know what's also going on? We have a special public avalanche warning going on. Lots of fresh snow, lots of changing temperatures. Yeah, had some drought in February, so we got some different layers that are weak. Things can slide. We can get some really big slides. It's really appealing. People want to go out right now. They want to go. It's like, look, let's go sledding. There's finally lots of snow. It's this bad weekend to go do it. And what's really frustrating is most guys are going to go sledding. Would never listen to a show of nerds like us. So good luck to you. You're out of our reach. Mark Ingalls, meteorologist Mark down there in Portland, Oregon. What do you got for us this week?
Hello, good evening. I thought I would start off with to answer Hilding's question about China. I pulled up the reanalysis data, and so at 12Z on 12 UTC on the 17th, this bit of Outer Mongolia here was plus 6 degrees C, and 2 days later, same time of day, they were right around minus 25. So it looks like it was Outer Mongolia. I also saw real quick, and of course I am horrible with these Chinese names and geography, but in what I think is the Xinjiang province in the northwestern part of the country, the temperature dropped in a mountainous region all the way down to minus 52 C. They did not have a flash freeze because they were already below freezing. But yes, it looks like in parts of the Outer Mongolia province, they had a drop of nearly minus 30 C over the course of 2 days. So here in North America, Brandon talked a lot about the big low pressure system that was continent wide. Started on the west and it headed east. And I just wanted to note that there's a wildfire in Texas. It's northeast of Amarillo in the Texas Panhandle. This is an arid region of Texas. It started on Monday, and between Monday and today, it has grown to 1,000,000 acres, which is about 2,000 square kilometers. It has moved from west to east a distance of about 150 kilometers. So that's, I mean, I don't know Canadian geography very well, but for Portland, that'd be like if I drove, a good hour and a half to the east, and it's a fire has covered that, and it's surrounded a town, a couple of towns, including Canadian, I think is the biggest town there. It's on the Canadian River, which is nowhere near Canada, of course. But that was a pretty big deal. And of course, tornadoes, the huge temperature swings were a big factor. I was looking at the forecast for Montreal, and Montreal was forecasted to go from plus 13C to minus 13C over the course of 8 hours. That was pretty wild.
I have the ArcGIS satellite maps. Are we allowed to show those, Imogen?
Well, if it's NOAA data, it should be public access, so I don't see why not.
I would think so, yes.
What's the source?
ArcGIS.
ArcGIS, I'm not familiar with that one.
That would be governmental, right?
Well, who put it up is the question. Is it like U.S. government? Because if so, ArcGIS is a software. It's not like they're not making the data.
Err on the side of caution and not use it if we don't have a license or permit or like written permission to use it. Because Rogers is really sticky about that. Canadian TV is really sticky about anything like that. So it's best to err on the side of caution and just not.
Had to be sure. If it was Canadian government, I would share it and be fine with it. But I just don't know with ArcGIS. So, okay, continue.
Okay. So this is the coldest time of year in British Columbia, but not at the surface, but up above. And so, longtime residents of BC and Washington and Oregon know that spring brings these strong showers, and it'll be like 45 degrees, and then the shower moves over, 45, which is like a 7C, and the shower will move over, and then we'll get a little bit of snow and a little bit of hail and a little bit of grupple or grapple, however you want to call it, and then shower moves over and it gets sunny and it gets kind of warm again. And what's going on is the sun angle is high enough that it heats the ground enough to warm up the surface temperatures, but up above temperatures are much cooler. And so that difference between the warm at the surface and the cold up above is what drives, and also us still getting quite a bit of moisture off the Pacific Ocean, is what drives the strong showers and isolated thunderstorms and the small hail that we get every year. In fact, in the United States, at least, most people think of hail as like Cheyenne, Wyoming, Denver, Colorado, but the Washington and Oregon coast get the most hail days out of the year. It's just always like pea-sized hail, not, the size of grapefruits. So
I had grapple here today in Wells.
Nice, congratulations. I had chunky rain, so we had a little bit of snow, and I'm all the way down at 40 meters elevation, so that was pretty impressive.
1,200 here.
Yes. It looks like, are going to get quite cold. It looks like an Arctic blast is coming into British Columbia, the northern 2/3 of British Columbia. It looks like Prince George is going to be down below minus 20 overnight. Sunday and Monday is not likely to get above minus 10. So that'll be a little chilly. Of course, you guys are pretty used to that. The low that's coming across the continent this weekend, and so if you're listening in Winnipeg, this already happened, but it's going to run basically where it's coming on shore, and then it's going to strengthen on the east side of the Rockies and then run from Denver up through Winnipeg to the Hudson Bay. And so there's actually quite a bit of uncertainty with what the precipitation type is going to be in Winnipeg, because that low is going to track so close to it that it's, a shift of 30 or 50 kilometers is going to make a big difference on whether you see rain or snow. But the forecast high on Friday is 5 degrees C in Winnipeg, and the forecast high on Saturday is minus 8. So it looks like this one will be a little bit more mild flash freeze, and this cold front is not going to sweep across the entire continent to the East Coast. It's the cooling down is gonna be limited to places west of like Thunder Bay and Chicago. There's some improvement in the snowpack in the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia. I saw today the Pacific Northwest is now at 80% of average for this time of year. California is doing even a little bit better, and like Frankie said, over 300 centimeters of snow coming this weekend, so that'll be pretty incredible.
380 centimeters of snow in California.
Yes, and I'm glad I'm not there. And I live in Portland for the rain, not the snow. British Columbia has been doing a bit better too. Most stations are running 60 to 85% of the median for this time of year, but down by the mountains surrounding the lower mainland and on Vancouver Island are still quite a bit below that. But it's nice to see some snowpack improving there, and that's all I have tonight.
Yes, we do have some improvement. Yes, it's snowed a lot here this week, and I think through this weekend, Southern BC is going to see a fair bit more. Next week, we definitely have moments of precipitation, but the cold is really going to be the story next week, and that's what I'm looking at. I did have a day of frozen pipes this week, so it did get down pretty chilly on Monday night into Tuesday. It was sure nice when we got that. Brandon called he had a Chinook in Alberta side. I wouldn't call what we got here a Chinook, but it was definitely a gradually warming afternoon yesterday. It was really lovely. We got still Imogen, we got Hilding left on the panel.
Yes, well, we've been having here at Grassy Plains, it's been pretty much consistently minus 15 every morning. And for the past week, now we've had probably about 10 centimeters of snow and a bit of really gusty, blustery winds. And interestingly, all the winds have been cold, but we've had winds from the north, the east, and the west, all three. And they were all equally cold winds, which is kind of unusual. And this morning, I had a real interesting phenomenon. I looked across the lake in front of my house, and the trees on the other side of the lake looked like they were standing right in front of me. So there was a mirage going on out there. I could see the beach in front of the neighbor's house that is behind a hill from my house. It's impossible to see it unless there's an inversion of the atmosphere. So that was a rather interesting thing to see here. And the cattle seem to be doing good, and we've gotten enough snow that they have enough moisture to survive the rest of the winter. I think it'll all work out good.
Now I don't know if you can see it, but there's the far edge of the lake looks slightly like it's rising up. A little bit earlier, the part that's in fog behind the barn there, actually you could see down to the shoreline right in front of my neighbor's house, and it's usually totally hidden from view by the barn.
Imogen, how is Victoria? It's the nicest weather in Canada, I'm sure, again this week. You didn't get that snow, did you?
We did not get any snow. We got a little bit of cold. We got a little bit of rain. I think it rained pretty heavy for about 5 minutes yesterday, and then it was just back to gray. Everything was gray, but strangely nice and crisp and not overly cold. And it's so boring. Our extreme weather is boring. Everyone else gets this delightful, beautiful snow. We got 5 minutes of wetness. Everything got very moist. That's about it. We didn't get the snow. We're not that lucky. I was sad. Sorry.
We had quite a weekend here. It snowed hard on Friday, and then it continued to snow on Saturday, and then it snowed some more, and then it stopped snowing for a little bit on Sunday, and it got a little bit warmer for a bit, and then it hailed, and then south of us it was lightning and thunder, and down by Canham Lakes, places like that. Got a fair bit of Horsefly Lake, saw some lightning, crossed over towards Blue River as it went over. It went through near Helmkin Falls. There was a bunch of lightning there, so pretty awesome. Not our first thunderstorm even this year. We've had several rounds already, so I'm happy. So now we're now 35 minutes into the show, and everyone's kind of said some. So what do we got this week, guys? What do we got?
Well, the Portland Winterhawks are no longer the top of the WHL standings. They are now number 2. The Prince George Cougars are doing a little bit better. Of course, the Tri-City Americans, which are the best team, are letting everybody else beat them except Seattle and Kamloops.
Well, Brooks Bandits are still doing good. They're in what are they, a 5-6 game winning streak now? Yeah, something like that. And the Calgary Flames are doing good too.
And the other team, the Giants the Giants never clinched their playoff spot yet.
No, they got to get their act together too. But I got this other great story from this week. So a woman lost her $82,000 injury claim after lawyers found a photo of her winning a Christmas tree throwing competition back on Christmas. So she didn't get her injury claim because apparently, I guess she wasn't that injured.
Well, when you're claiming a shoulder injury and you're out there doing, competitive throwing, it kind of, you can't really be taken that seriously. If you can throw a Christmas tree, you can probably, do most other things. You can probably use a fork or sit at your desk and exist. So, sorry.
Yeah.
You'd think that foregoing the competition, you'd think that the $82,000 settlement you were looking at would be more important than the 10 minutes of applause for whipping a Christmas tree farther than another soccer mom. I don't know. Maybe it was a really cool tree and a really cool prize, and maybe it made that other soccer mom really, really jealous.
I'm really curious about the size of these trees because are we chucking like full size, like 2.5 meter tall Douglas firs or something, or is this like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree?
See, that's a valid question, but it was a standard full size Christmas tree. The photo, because I know the story Brandon's talking about. I saw this one the other day as well, and it was a standard Christmas tree. This was part of the thing that people were doing with all of the post-Christmas celebrations and whatnot. And it took a little while for this photo to come up, but it was a regular in your living room, cover it in tinsel and all that sort of stuff sized Christmas tree. That was more important.
So how far did she throw it to lose her $84,000?
Well, she won the whole competition, so I have to double check here. Pretty far, I guess. Beat the other people that were in this.
Well, yeah, but that's like when you're running away from a bear with a 3-year-old. Like, you're gonna win.
That is a perfect comparison. That is a very valid point. If the rest of the competitors were really not good competition, then it was just an easy win. And she may very well have been able to win while severely injured.
While you're pulling that up, I've got one. This is from I won't say what news source this is, but it is one from outside of North America, and the title is "Texas Wildfire is so big you can see it from space." But it's not uncommon for us to see wildfires from space. I don't think that's necessarily the bar for it being a big deal.
That's not
you can see fires from space pretty frequently, yes. That's a common way to see them is from space. Speaking of space, it takes the Earth 365.242190 days to travel around the sun. So the problem is that leaves us an extra, what does that leave an extra? It leaves an extra 2.42190 days. So what happens is we every 4 years we add a day. So this is the leap year day episode of the Cometeorological Report. That's what I have to say about that outer space news.
Looks like 5-foot trees that were thrown. Doesn't show how far.
Moving on to the next headlines here. Odd news. Hacked road sign in Washington warned of angry raccoons ahead. So that must have scared people. Angry raccoons ahead. A cat was rescued from a junkyard car moments before the car was crushed. In other news, my dog managed to kill a mouse this week. And I was like, I found it in his bed, and I went to show it to him. I was like, what's this? And he's like, what did I do wrong? I was like, no, good boy. And then when he realized, I was like, you killed the mouse. He got all excited. It was awesome. Awesome. So I have a little red healer that will kill a mouse. There was a venomous snake found hanging in a child's closet. This is some odd news. This is what you don't want. And this is, of course, in Australia. A reptile catcher responded to a Queensland home where a resident found a venomous snake slithering in the clothes hanging in a closet. So imagine that you go to put it on your shirt and there's a snake in there that will kill you.
Everything in Australia will kill you. Australia.
I go geocaching, and geocaching often involves looking for like putting your hand up a bush or something like that. And like, I want to find a geocache in Australia, but I also don't want to die. So
one of the first times that I went geocaching, I found this little hidden pond filled with some of the most ginormous tadpoles that I've ever seen. Like they were monster sized, and some of them they were at that stage where a bunch of them had legs, and then others just looked like little, I don't know, tadpoles or whatever, squigglies. And then a few months later, I actually saw a headline around here: invasive species, American bullfrogs. There'd been people getting them as pets, releasing them in the wild, and the area that I was, where I found these giant tadpoles, I'm fascinated by these things. And in that area was apparently one of the main areas that people were releasing them. So it was just this weird coincidence that I stumbled across like a breeding ground for a massively invasive species before it hit, like right before it hit the news. It was
yes, well, you see, you guys send your Canadian geese down here to terrorize us in the winter,
yeah,
and so we are retaliating with the American bullfrogs.
Yeah. Well, I had a pet African bullfrog at the time. The African one is the second largest species. The American one is the largest one. So this is why it was particularly, interesting to me, as I'm looking at these things going, these have to be the American version, like the American one. And I didn't know anything about, the species being around here at the time. I went back home, looked it up, started seeing stuff like, oh, there's been reports of people releasing them. And then a few months later, it's all over. It's in the news here that it's just like they're terrorizing the countryside. These giant frogs are just ravaging. It was great. I mean, it's not, but if we're gonna we'll take your
I went to Vancouver Island in 2017 or something like that, and I was surprised to learn that Vancouver Island does not have an indigenous population of grizzly bears, but they have a problem up in the north, like by Port McNeill, of them swimming across the strait there to get across. And I can understand why you would not want grizzly bears, but I was just surprised that you didn't have them already.
Yeah,
I had them here, and I like them. So here's some news in Oklahoma. This is from Sand Springs, Oklahoma. The world's youngest great-grandmother just celebrated her 25th birthday today. She was born in 1924.
Yeah, how cool would that be to be celebrating both your 25th and your 100th birthday on the same day? There's got to be a spot in Guinness World Records for that.
I think who was a celebrity today? Oh yeah, Ja Rule, the Raptor. He's 12 today.
So if you're a Ja Rule fan, say happy birthday to him. I'm sure he's on social media.
Oh yeah, he's old enough to be on social media now. Oh yeah,
he's allowed. Now old enough.
Minnesota brewery had a tank malfunction, which resulted in the employee getting completely soaked in beer this week. 200 escaped goats are now wandering Texas neighborhoods. They were brought to help clean unwanted plants up, but now they have escaped and they have become an unwanted problem themselves.
In Rhode Island, a hiker killed a coyote with his bare hands after being attacked by it, and it turns out the coyote was rabid. So the coyote bit the individual who killed it, but it looks like they are going to be okay.
Did you ever see that Beavis and Butthead back in the days when Beavis gets bit by this rabid dog, and then they go to the doctor and Beavis has to get, rabies shot because he stinks to death, But then they're so annoying that the doctor gives them 16 needles, only to find out at the very end of the episode that now there's a new cure, only one needle will do it. And then as soon as Beavis sees it, he just falls on the floor twitching in terror, and Butthead laughs. And it was a great episode. Great episode.
I think you're really dating yourself there. Beavis and Butthead is quite a bit before my time. But I did have an experience once. I was in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is just across the river from Omaha, Nebraska, and I was hiking in the woods in the bluffs, and there was this squirrel that was rabid, and it was just the most bizarre thing that I'd ever seen because it was like coming towards us, but it was like rolling in this really weird, like, it was surreal to watch but really disturbing. Like, it was twitching and rolling kind of in our general direction at the same time, and I was glad that it was a squirrel and not a coyote.
All it needs is a bite, though. It doesn't matter its size. And in some ways, a coyote is easier to fight off than a squirrel. A squirrel can be up and down you this way and that if it wants to be. But in the 80s, it was a big thing, rabies. And I had a cat. Yeah, in the 80s, I got rabies. It was, and you don't hear of rabies much anymore. I don't hear of rabies anyway. I don't know about you guys. You got rabies where you are?
We do here, but it's not like a big deal. But my mom, I think, is partially a product of the 80s rabies scare, because like if she sees a bat at all, like it's like how LaCroix is, like they put this water vaguely close to a strawberry and that's the LaCroix drink. Well, if you put my mom vaguely close to a bat, she's convinced that she has to go to the hospital.
There was a bear squeezed out of a small vent hole in a house in North Carolina. Look up that one. It's pretty wild. It's like, how the octopus squeezes through this tiniest thing and gets out? Well, this is what a bear somehow did. Meanwhile, in Florida, a golf cart was pursued by an alligator, and the alligator almost got him. Speaking of airplanes, every week we got a new thing. It's like maggots on planes, it's snakes, it's something other. Well, this time it's rats in Sri Lanka. A plane was grounded for 3 days until they found the rat and got him off the board. So off the plane.
So which would you rather have, the rats on the plane or the door plug being ejected from the plane?
Well, if you had rats on the plane, it would be awesome if the door flew off and the rats went out the door with it. That's probably not what happened, though.
I don't know, Sri Lanka, so it
Be
could
raining
be.
rats.
There's a sheep in England had to take a ride in a policeman's car. He was on the loose, and the cop picked him up, and he got a ride in a cop car. So
This is kind of cool. In 2016, when a teenager laid down a pair of glasses on the floor of an art gallery, people mistood it as art and decided to take photos of the glasses on the floor. There's a picture circulating around, people with their big cameras out taking pictures of these random pair of glasses on the floor, which isn't art, I guess, but
It's
I thought it was art.
It's become a running joke that an ongoing prank that people do that at art galleries, because the context of what is art is just so open-ended, and it's the social pushback to framing random stuff and just saying, oh, this is art. It's garbage that you found and you framed it to make a social commentary. And so people will just put stuff in there at random and just watch visitors, take their selfies with it, take their photos with it. College students will write their little reports on the meaning of this random Big Mac wrapper that's been put on the floor, or the banana peel stapled to the wall. That was a famous one that went around, and yeah, it's an ongoing thing. It has been for a while. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Speaking of art and the different forms it can take for different people, a Spanish artist is planning to marry an AI hologram that they designed after their ex-boyfriends.
Wow.
So Brandon, if you happen to have dated a Spanish artist, you are now marrying somebody.
Oh boy.
So I did see an article saying that dating apps are worse than ever, and I can believe it because people would rather marry a computer program. LaSalle, Ontario, people were swimming in the community pool, and this deer broke into the place and came running and dove into the pool, and everyone was jumping out of the pool as this deer was swimming in the pool with them. So there you go, LaSalle, Ontario.
Yeah, I saw that. The deer broke through the glass, jumped into the pool, jumped out. They're trying to get the deer out. What a wild scene. No doubt about that.
And here's the coolest Guinness Book of World Record ever. There's one of the Guinness Book of World Records this week broken was for the biggest tongue. Like, who cares?
Oh, yeah, I saw that too.
He's got a big fat tongue. But this is even cooler. This guy down in Iowa, he set the record for most amplifiers. He played hooked up to 81 amps at the same time. That's shredding. Right on, dude. I love that.
In Lakewood, Colorado. Well, first, there is one single lizard species, I think in North America, but for sure in the United States, that is venomous. It's the Gila monster, and it is native to Arizona and adjacent parts of like New Mexico and Old Mexico. So in Lakewood, Colorado, Christopher Ward, age 34, was taken to the hospital shortly after being bitten by one of his two pet Gila monsters because, why not have the only venomous lizard in North America as your pet, and died. So I guess that's what my dad would call a Darwin Award.
I guess so. Police were surprised to encounter a kangaroo at a Texas park. So someone has a pet kangaroo that went missing, and it's been picked up by the police. Go find your kangaroo. In Indiana, a deer had its head stuck in a plastic container for 12 days, and people rescued it. So that's awesome. People are always rescuing animals, including a ram that was ram on the lam that was captured in New Jersey. He's been rescued as well. We got 8 minutes left in the show. 8 minutes left in the show, everybody.
8 minutes. Okay. So how about, here's one. Snake Island has about 4,000 of the world's deadliest snakes, and no human is allowed on that island.
Where is
Now,
Snake
would you go
Island?
on that island? Snake
I'm
Island.
not allowed to.
Not
There's
allowed.
rules.
I gotta find it here. Snake Island. Snake Island. It's near Brazil there, yes. It's a little small island well off of Brazil. Has 4,000 of the world's deadliest snakes.
Oh, Brazil.
That's an island.
No, I wouldn't go to, not Brazilian snakes, no.
Slightly more pleasant than that is Pig Island, which is located in the Bahamas. And what happened was the pigs are believed to have been left there by sailors who would use it as like a cache back in the days of yore. And now these pigs just swim pleasantly in the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, and they literally take like cruise excursions and stuff specifically to this island so people can hang out with the pigs.
Whew.
And then you go back to your cruise ship and have a hamburger with bacon on it.
Down near you in Oregon is a place called Weed Island, but it looks like it's just an island.
Just not.
Not too far south of Oregon is Weed, California, and I ate at the Taco Bell there once, and it
Of
lived
course
up
you
to
did,
the
'cause you were-
expectations.
You were in Weed, California, and then you're like,
Yeah, where else was I?
man,
gonna
I'm
eat?
hungry now. Holy.
We were doing
Taco
a
Bell.
marathon drive from Salt Lake City, Utah to Medford, Oregon, and that's like that's something like 10 or 12 hours or whatever, and we stopped in Weed and couldn't think of any better place to go.
Now, we do have a place in BC called Stoner Hickson. So the Philadelphia Phillies have scrapped their popular $1 hot dog night for the 2024 season. And this is because unruly fans have been throwing hot dogs. Can't have that. So no more $1 hot dog nights. Thanks for ruining it for everybody. Now poor people cannot have hot dogs. That's their excuse. Now hot dog price is like $15. Who knows what the price is? I don't know.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of the toast sandwich, but if you search this on Wikipedia, it's a old British recipe for poor people in the 19th century, and it's slice of bread, slice of toast, slice of bread. Well, a London restaurant may have topped that with a piece of toast with scrambled eggs on it, and this costs £99 for something that I could make for probably what comes out to about 2 pounds in my house.
99 cents. So a man he was caught at the border with a python in his pants. A New York City man. He was fined and sentenced to probation. Who admitted to smuggling Burmese pythons in his pants.
Was he on Snake Island?
I don't know. I'm not sure if he was on an airplane either. I'm not sure if he was where he was caught with these snakes in his pants.
Was his passport stamped with Snake Island?
Well, I have a better look here. It's just a year probation, $5,000 fine. So this guy's name's Calvin Bautista. He crossed to New York from Montreal. Of course he did, on July 15th, 2018, with young snakes hidden inside his pants. And he was caught. It doesn't seem to say, though, how he crossed the border, whether he was driving across or whether he was flying across with snakes in his pants.
You could take the train across there, too.
I suppose, yeah, you could. So there's snakes on a train, We got to get these snakes off this train!
Every now and then, of course, Oklahoma City is probably the most tornado-prone major city in North America, and occasionally a tornado or a severe thunderstorm will cause a problem at the zoo, and then they'll have problems with tigers running around adjacent neighborhoods and stuff, and the police will have to send out how they send out these text messages for emergencies now. They'll have to blast out these text messages that say, "Shelter in place, you might get eaten by a tiger if you don't."
Well, this happened when I was stationed in Kamloops. As a firefighter, I had a day off, and a lightning strike killed a goat at the Kamloops Zoo, the BC Wildlife Park in Kamloops. So lightning fatally struck the goat, mountain goat.
I did not know Kamloops had a zoo.
It's not really a zoo, but it's a zoo. He was a beloved goat, and he's gone thanks to the lightning. If only the goat had been listening to our show. And Richard Taylor, one of our viewers in the live stream chat, says there's a Snake Island near Nanaimo, BC. There's 6,000 islands. So, I'm sure they're running out of words. Call it Snake Island.
If you want to follow me on social media, my Blue Sky is at Frankie MacD. My Twitter is at Frankie MacD. My Linktree is Frankie MacDonald. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD984. My TikTok is FrankDon984. My Clapper is FrankDon984. My Twitch is FrankDon984. My Snapchat is FrankieMACDON. My YouTube channel is Dogs Wolves, and my link is FrankDon. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Don. You're listening to Comedeorological Weather Report with Joey only every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. It's on CFUR 88.7 FM in Prince George, and CKUW 95.9 FM and CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops, British Columbia on Rogers TV.
That's right. That's Frankie. I'm Joey. Well, thanks for coming to the show this week. Really enjoyed having you. And we had the whole panel. We had Brandon Houck in Brooks, Alberta. We had Mark Ingalls down in Portland, Oregon. We had Hildy Donaldson in Grassy Plains, British Columbia. Frankie McDonald, Imogen Cookie Bailey in Victoria, BC, associate producer, and myself, Joey Only, up here in Wells, British Columbia. That's the show for this week, I believe. If anyone's got any last words, you can find Imogen, imogen.in. You can find this show at Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude. You can find Brandon Houck on Twitter. You can find Hilding milking the cows.
Calves will never be delicate and friendly, even though
those cows.
I think he's frozen. Oh,
I love hearing about the cows.
Yeah, it's like we got a cowboy on this show. We're gonna milk that. Other people, they got fake cowboys on their shows. We got the real deal. We got Hilding Donaldson, man. This old buddy. Love you, buddy. Love you all. Great panel. Thanks for being my friends. Thanks for listening. That's the show this week, right, Frankie?
Yes, that's the show.
That's the show. Frankie, have you ever tried to yodel before? Can you yodel for us?
People in Vancouver, you can't escape from major earthquakes forever.
Who has the worst weather in the world, Frankie? We got to get these snakes off this train!
And I got something else to say. Do not travel to Iceland. If anybody lives in Iceland, be prepared for major volcano.
He was a beloved goat, and he's gone, thanks to the lightning.
Boom! There goes the dynamite.
Smoking good barbecue.
That'd be because I'm on the radio right now, and I tend to get sexier by the time I go on the air, so that's how it works here.
Chinese pizza, it's Italian, not Chinese. It's Italian.